Greg Jennings. So we've watched all these awful preseason games. So I imagine you've watched some of them too, right? Some of the, not the whole game, but you've watched series, right?
They're great. They've been great. They've been unbelievable.
Can I tell you? I know you think I hate wide receivers, and I do not. But I think they're the convertible sports car of America. They're great until the weather's bad. Then you put them in the garage until next summer. And once post-Thanksgiving, weather gets bad in the NFL, sometimes the vertical passing game shrinks, and you got to run the football, swing it out, whatever. So the Rams this week, I didn't like this at all. The Rams gave up a corner and a second-round pick for Sammy Watkins. Bill Belichick has drafted 19 corners. 3 have hit, and one of them they moved to safety. Corners are, in this day and age, impossible to find. You gave up a second-round pick, which is a gold bar, and a corner for Sammy Watkins. Now, you're thinking I'm negative wide receiver. That feels like you gave away way too much for me.
When you say it like that, and number one, everyone wants a convertible. Let's just throw that out there. But when you say it like that, I can agree with you. If I'm in that position, I don't know if I give up that much for Sammy Watkins, specifically with him coming off an injury.
Yes.
Sammy Watkins, I love him as a player.
Explosive.
Absolutely.
But if I said to you today, overachieved or underachieved, he's underachieved.
Well, I can't. No. See, I disagree 100% there. Has he had a quarterback? Exactly. No, he hasn't had that quarterback that has been able to consistently get him the ball and put him in position to where he's successful. So I can't sit here and say we've even seen the best of what Sammy Watkins has to offer the NFL or any team that he's been on thus far.
So would you have made that move?
Personally,
yeah,
I don't think I make that move. I wouldn't say that it's a bad move because you're getting a great player, both on the field and off the field.
I don't know him off.
Character-wise, we don't hear anything about. Yeah. All I've heard about Sammy Watkins, and I haven't met him, is he's a great kid.
I always assume most guys are good dudes unless I hear about it.
Yeah, he's a great kid, very respectful.
To me, I look at Belichick's got a great eye for defensive backs. I think Belichick was at first a defensive back coach. He's drafted 19 corners. 2 have hit, 1 hit as a safety, and it's like you just gave 1 away in a second-round pick. And by the way, in 1 year, you're going to have to pay Sammy Watkins a lot of money.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I want to ask you, I was talking about the anthem thing, and I started my show today saying, listen, what players are doing now because of their wealth is they're just showing their individualism. And it's the same reason we all play the lottery is so we can tell our boss how we really feel. Mm-hmm. Well, the players have all actually hit the lottery. So if they raise a fist or they kneel or
not all have hit the lottery.
Well, you're right. A lot. But Michael Bennett's done very well for himself.
Absolutely.
Marshawn Lynch has done very well for himself. Is that this is where I'm always going to side with players. Now, the anthem is tricky because it's seen as anti-military, and I would never, ever sit for an anthem. I just don't. I think it falls. People, regardless of my take on why I sat, it would be viewed by members of the American military who protect my family and my country. It would be viewed as Cowherd's anti-military. Even though that if I was sitting because I was protesting something else. So I couldn't do the military kneel. But I got to tell you, I want you to take me into the mind of a pro athlete. Your whole life, you have coaches barking at you. And then when you finally get money, you want freedom, you want options, you want free agency, and you want to be heard. There's a big part of me, that's the life I've been living for 20 years.
I think it has a lot to do with, I can see your point. I don't think it has everything to do with the money. I think it has a lot more to do with even your status and your role as you advance, the experience that you have, the amount of influence that you have, the level of respect that you have from the guys in your locker room. I think that plays a huge part in it. The level of respect that you earn because of your play on the football field and around the league, that has a lot to do with it. When you have a guy who has been proven that he can handle off the field situations, whether good, bad, or whatever, and still get it done, you put a little slack in that rope, that leash. You let that player kind of do a little bit more.
So Marshawn and Michael Bennett have proven to be dominating players.
Absolutely.
And they want their voices heard.
Absolutely. And they've made their money, and they're continuing to make money. So when you add those together, yes, naturally you
feel empowered.
You put yourself in a position to where, you know what, I'm at a level in my career, a stage in my career where there's more to me than just football.
Okay, this is really interesting because if you look at many of the players who are protesting, they are stars.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a lot of rookie contract guys. Kaepernick at the time had guaranteed money. Marshawn Lynch has got $50 million in the bank. Michael Bennett's a rock star.
Mm-hmm.
Kyrie Irving's like, I'm going to do my own thing.
Yep.
In many instances, to your point, a player has a title, he's got his money, and he wants to prove that, man, I'm more than a helmet.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, it is. These guys, you got to understand, I've been there. So when I'll take for instance, when I didn't leave Green Bay. That was kind of what was out there. Oh, Greg, you left Green Bay. When I ended up going to the Minnesota Vikings, I had already won a championship.
Yep.
At this point in my career, I've had a lot of success individually and as a team.
You were a Super Bowl champ and a Pro Bowler.
So at this point, I had really nothing to lose. I had nothing to lose.
You were a little Kyrie. You left Aaron Rodgers. And people were like, oh, Greg Jennings is selfish.
No, I didn't leave Aaron Rodgers. Cleveland is willing to give Kyrie.
Green Bay wasn't rolling it out for you.
Green Bay wasn't rolling it out. And I felt that I deserved more. I given them more. But what players are doing and what you have to understand is once you've reached a certain level in this league, you earn respect comes with that. You now can be very influencing to not only your teammates,
other players,
but to other players around the league and outside of this league. And so guys have brands. And when I look at Michael Bennett, he's a guy that's always spoken. The Bennett brothers in general, they've never held back on speaking their mind and saying what's in their heart and then what they want to share. I don't think it's strange that he's doing it now. When it comes to that team, they've always handled things a little differently.
Yeah.
Collectively as a team.
I think this morning I was just driving to work and I'm watching Marshawn Lynch, and I know anthems are different than everything else because it is viewed as anti-USA. Regardless of, Kaepernick's message is totally drowned out by a sense that, oh, you don't like the military. Even military members said, oh, we sat down with him. We get his message now. But I tend to believe that what most professional athletes are seeking is the exact same thing all of us are seeking, which is to be heard. And I think we get upset when there's Seattle on the jersey or Packer on the jersey. Hey, you're part of our city. You just be quiet and play sports. But we're all seeking power and leverage with our bosses. The athletes now have it as they become veterans with titles and money, and they want to be heard. And I'm mostly okay. I'm almost overwhelmingly okay with it.
Everyone wants to be heard.
Of course.
Everyone. I don't care who you are.
John Goulet does. I don't let him be heard, but he's seeking to be heard constantly. It's
Absolutely.
Really tedious.
And he's heard by way of your voice. And it gets to a point where I no longer want you to speak for me. I want to be able to speak for myself. I've established myself in a place where, you know what, I have a realm of influence. I'm going to impose what it is I believe onto everyone out there. That doesn't mean they are going to take on my beliefs, but I'm going to get them out there the way that I want to now.
I'm watching the NFL preseason. I usually watch the first two series, and it's Seacrest out. I can't tolerate it, and I love football. But here's my first takeaway. Dallas plays 4 of the top 10 defenses in the first month, and I'm watching the Cowboys offense, and maybe I'm reaching here. But Ezekiel Elliott is a tremendous natural pass catcher.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When I watch the Cowboys offense, Alfred Morris, McFadden, they're not. This is a big loss for 6 games. I'm sorry, it is.
That's the point. If you lose Ezekiel Elliott for 6 games, what you're doing is putting so much pressure on Dak to now throw the ball down the field.
That's right.
Because of quarterbacks, Norv Turner said this every single day when I was in Minnesota with him. A quarterback's best friend is the check down. If he knows, you look at Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers, you look at Matt Ryan and that two-headed monster, his ability to be able to know that he can check it down, they can throw to these running backs out of the backfield and trust and be able to throw it anywhere, and they catch the ball without having to be perfect. That's what Ezekiel Elliott brings that I think gets dismissed more than just his running ability.
He's a great wide receiver.
The screen game, being able to just simply relieve the quarterback of having to go down the field. You know what? I got Zeke on the linebacker. Just get it to him in space. That's almost cheating for him.
Yes,
I
watched the Cowboys this weekend, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to go too much into this stuff. I don't want to be a dope, but without Ezekiel Elliott, you are taking a massive passing weapon away from a second-year quarterback with an offensive line that now has injuries. I think Dallas is going to sputter for 6 weeks. I don't know what's going to happen to that suspension, but it will not be the same offense.
I don't know if they'll sputter. I mean, they're facing, the Giants right out the gate. Arizona, they got the Packers in that first 6 weeks. They got tough sledding, and with him being gone, you got an Alfred Morris who's been in the league for a while now, but he hasn't caught. He's not a pass catcher out of the backfield.
He's not.
I don't even think he's had over 30 targets in one season. Then you have McFadden. He's more of a runner. He's caught more balls out of the backfield, but they don't pose nearly the threat.
Look at the first 5 weeks for the Cowboys. Okay, these are defenses. Giants, one of the best defenses in football. Denver, one of the best defenses in the NFL. Arizona, Carson Palmer may be old. Tremendous defense. The Chargers, Bosa, Ingram. Is that the Rams? The Rams' defense is pretty good. And then you go to Green Bay, where it's just a firepower game. Okay, I want to transfer to this. So I'm watching the Raiders, okay? And again, I don't want to make a lot out of this. But last year, they won 9 games last possession. I mean, it was just one of those. And I think Derek Carr's absurd. I think he's he is the closest thing to Aaron Rodgers. I thought for years it was Tony Romo. Tony was a poor man's Aaron. I think Derek's a poor man's Aaron. And who knows what ends up.
Yeah.
But I watched that Raiders defense. And Arizona came out and was like, bang, 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 bang. That back seven, they don't cover people. They're not good in space. I like the Raiders. But you watch great defenses, they make you uncomfortable.
You're right.
The Raiders don't make you uncomfortable.
See, I can never put a lot into preseason because I know the mindset, and there are different things, especially on both sides of the ball.
What matters in preseason? What can I look as a fan and say, okay, that's something?
Just going out there and getting reps. That's it. That's all that matters. You want to get out there and get your feet wet. You want to get hit. You want to feel that ground. You just want to get all that rust off of you. Everything else is going to take place in the regular season. But defenses go out there trying to work a scheme. They're not showcasing everything.
They're going to work on one scheme.
They're going to work on a couple things out there, and coaches are they're detailed when it comes to, I want to see how well you can do this. This is what we're doing in this week 1 preseason. Next week, they'll have a little bit larger playbook. They'll open it up a little bit more. Offenses do the same thing. They're going to run only a handful of plays, and they want to see how you perform with those plays. They want to see how much you retain, how well you can execute.
Once you made your money, let's go to your last 4 years. Your mindset, like in warm-ups, are you thinking about, you're just basically trying to not get hurt, get a good sweat, get popped, and get home?
So, truth.
This show is all about truth.
Man, I hope they have the hot dog. I wonder where the hot dogs are going to be when we get in at halftime.
Because you're done.
I'm done. It's so hard to lock in a game that means nothing, and you're barely going to play.
You're going to get 7 snaps.
You're going to get 7. The third preseason game, it's like you have to mentally lock, okay, I got one half where it's serious, but it's not. And here's the part that's most frustrating. It doesn't matter what you do in these preseason games. It doesn't come up in your stats. It doesn't come up in overall team wins or losses. It means nothing.
Nothing, especially for a veteran player who's got a contract.
It means nothing. Means absolutely nothing.
So even when Trubisky looked good this weekend, I'm like, yeah, but he was facing Denver's second-team defense, and half of those guys won't be on the roster.
But that it's different because it's about experience and exposure. So you always want to see a quarterback perform regardless of what defense is out there, whether it's first, second, or third stringers. You want to see how well they handle every situation.